So here we go again with the typical story that gets told every single time a new live action remake for Disney comes out. Or hell, not even just a live action remake, just a movie from Disney in general or a TV show. If the fans are not liking it, all you gotta do is call the fans racist or misogynist or whatever kind of phobe word you want to come up with, and that automatically is supposed to validate your argument. Obviously, that doesn't work, but they think it does work, and that's their own issue they have to deal with. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, simply put, Peter Pan and Wendy is getting absolutely destroyed in every single category possible. The reviews are bad. The videos being done about it is bad. The movie itself is terrible. It is bland. It is horrible to look at. It has some of the worst CGI I've seen since She-Hulk. It is literally that bad. You can't even enjoy a simple story about a magical boy because the whole thing looks like a fucking depressing film that is just in such a monotone color the entire time that it is terrible to look at. And I'm telling you, it is really, really boring. But why am I talking about it? Well, you have the articles that are now coming out as expected that I said it was going to happen from your white liberal show media, aka Maureen Lee Linker, and from Entertainment Weekly says how Peter Pan and Wendy attempts to correct Disney's racist history with its own story. This isn't your grandmother's tiger lilies. So again, we have this issue in Hollywood where they're trying to make it be the fans' fault. It's always the fault of the fans. It is never the fault of the people who make the product. And it only seems like in Hollywood are you allowed to fail upwards. That's basically what they do. They always fail upwards. They never actually take accountability for their failures. And to be honest, there's so many failures, it's almost hard to keep track at this point. But before we get into the article, guys, of course, consider giving this video a like so you can help push us out into the YouTube algorithm. It says Disney knew it would need more than faith, trust, and pixie dust for the new version of Peter Pan. It needed a little bit of modern pixie dust sprinkled over it. Jude Law, who stars as a dastardly Captain Hook in the live-action Peter Pan and Wendy, told EW at D23 in September. Okay, so maybe some pixie dust then. It was clear David Lowery, the writer-director, was going to honor the iconic status of this, but you imbue it with conviction and honesty. You could tell he wanted to ground it. 70 years after Disney's release of the animated Peter Pan, the Mouse House and Lowery used this new direction to address long-held critiques of the original. The animated classic notoriously features a song, What Makes the Red Man Red, as well as racist caricatures of indigenous people and multiple slurs. The new film, now streaming on Disney Plus, offers diverse casting and more nuanced portrayals of characters. Now, here's the hilarious thing. They say more nuanced portrayals of characters when they are some of the most stereotypical racist versions of these characters I've ever seen. Like, it is hilarious, and you're going to see it in my review when I release my review. But when they showcase Tiger Lily and her people, it is literally the most basic white liberal idea of an indigenous person that you could possibly think of. They even gave her dual-wielding weapons, and one of which is a tomahawk. Yes, they gave Tiger Lily a tomahawk. Why? Because she's indigenous, and clearly they're supposed to have tomahawks. It is like the most stupid freaking thing I've ever seen. And again, that's them saying, oh, it's a very diverse cast. It's very nuanced. We have good nuanced portrayals of characters now. Trust us. We know what we're doing when we're showcasing you silly minorities, you. That's what they think when they make these characters. They're the most stereotypical versions of whatever diverse character they want to make. Miles Morales is the greatest example of that, and I will always use Miles Morales' story of the prime example of what happens when you give a liberal a diverse character and you tell them to have at it. They're going to put every stereotype imaginable into it, and because they think that they're superior in terms of morality, they think they're doing the right thing. It's ridiculous. So it says Peter Pan was released in 1953 and is hardly the only Disney movie with problematic depictions of race and ethnicity. Problematic. It's always problematic. I don't know who it's problematic to other than these psychopaths, but they always consider it to be problematic. Of course. See Song of the South, The Crows, and Dumbo, etc. In 2020, Disney Plus added disclaimers to many of its films, including Pan, which opens with a content warning that notes the film portrays Native people in a stereotypical manner that reflects neither the diversity of Native peoples nor their authentic cultural traditions. With its live-action approach, now retitled Peter Pan and Wendy after the 1911 J.M. Barrie novel on which both versions are based, Disney attempts to course correct. The movie hews close to the original story. Wendy and her two brothers, Michael and John, are whisked off Off to Neverland by Peter Pan, and Tinkerbell, where the children ponder a world in which they never have to grow up. While the blueprint is the same, there's some welcome updates. For starters, they've cast an indigenous actress as Tiger Lily. Oh, instant win. Alyssa Wapanatahk. Wapanatahk is a member of the Big Stone Cree First Nation tribe in Canada. Of course, it's Canada. And she brought much of her heritage to the role, from Tiger Lily's attire to the fact that she largely speaks the Cree language and not English throughout the film. Now, here's the funny thing to me. So, when she's walking around speaking the Cree language, not a single freaking person understands the words of which she says. So, what happens? She speaks the Cree language, and after she speaks the Cree language, she then follows up with the exact same thing she said in the Cree language, but in English. Why didn't you just do it in English? And she does it every single time. Even though she knows the character she's talking to doesn't speak the Cree language, she always has to speak that first, because otherwise diversity is not checked. For Disney, they want to make sure that they have every opportunity to showcase this indigenous person's culture, so they make sure that she speaks in her language first and then follows up in English afterwards. It's the most insane, stupid thing I've ever seen, because it's literally just a waste of time. It's extra dialogue just for the sake of diversity. There's no other reason for that dialogue to exist. She doesn't speak her language to anyone else. She speaks it literally just in the air, and then ends up speaking English because she realizes those characters can't understand her. And even though she met them prior and she knows they can't understand her, she still does the same thing anyway. So again, it's the most stupid thing. It says, the second that I read the script, I fell in love with it. It said, Wapanatahk at D23, really being able to take Tiger Lily into my own hands and to have that responsibility and that honor, that's what really got me. It was a few weeks in, and David and I were talking, and he was saying, I really want you to make this your own. They gave me the reins on it, and they let me take that into my own hands. I felt very empowered to have that responsibility to be able to do that. Of course, I decided to bring my Cree background into it, and I really did a lot of research, and I worked with my adopted Mushum, the Cree word for grandmother and grandfather. I worked with my grandmother, and of course, a cultural consultant, Dr. Kevin Lewis. I brought all these different things to it and made sure I took care of it, because it's huge to take on a character like Tiger Lily and make her into a beautiful, bold character that is telling a story of her own. Now, mind you, there is no story of her own that gets told. The entire time in the movie, she is there just to play assist, okay? And she assists Peter Pan, she assists in the final battle, but there's really no story being told of her own people aside from maybe one or two comments, and that's essentially it. It's literally the most basic version of a diversity character that I've seen aside from Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell takes it to a whole nother level of basic. They don't even let her speak. She never speaks, and I understand that's true to the character, don't get me wrong, but come on, if you're going to hire a diverse character, give her more than 5 words to say. They gave her a 5-word sentence at the end, and that's it. She tries to speak throughout the entire movie, and you never hear her say a single line. So this woman goes through the entire movie saying nothing. That's what you're proud of? That's your diversity hire? The one who's muted the entire time? Okay, very interesting, your standards. It says in the animated film, Tiger Lily is a victim captured by Captain Hook and his pirates and left to drown until she is rescued by Peter Pan. And now it's the other way around, by the way. Of course, because the woman has to rescue the man. The man can't rescue the woman. That's just not acceptable these days. In gratitude, she performs a dance for him and kisses him, spurring Wendy's jealousy. Here, Wendy and Tiger Lily get a Bechdel test-approved makeover. They instead team up to fight Hook and his motley crew together, bringing far more prowess and skill to the fight than Pan himself. And that's true. In the entire movie, it is a Wendy movie, 100%, and Tiger Lily only jumps in at the final battle and also to save Peter Pan's life in the not to the middle of the movie, but a little bit towards like the end. She saves his life, and then he comes and joins the final battle, of which nobody really watches him fight anyway. In the final battle, he gets maybe a couple minutes, that's it, but most of the final battle consists of Wendy somehow manhandling a group of 200 to 300 pound dudes with ease. Like, she's literally unable to fight before, and now all of a sudden she's a master swordsman and she's able to just take on multiple dudes. Not only that, the indigenous girl with her tomahawk and dagger is able to dual wield and take on multiple dudes at the same time too. So you have 2 girl boss moments all happening at the same exact time, and it's just so fucking cringe to see. It really is. It's cringe. Not only that, Peter Pan's fight scene is terrible as well. It's not just the women. Peter Pan's fight scene is just ridiculous. All he has to do is hit one dude in the knee, and that dude rolls down the hill and takes out everybody with him, not even the people who are in his way. They somehow all just fall. Everybody does a theatrical fall, even though they were never hit by the guy. They just all fall into the water, and he just one-shots everybody. It is the most stupid thing. I swear to God, this movie is literally the epitome of terrible, and I can't wait to get my review over with because it's just fucking that bad. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.